Thank you for joining us on Discussion to Action. Today we're going to be talking about the common phrase made by many women who often say things like, there are no good men out there. And we're also going to have a conversation about women of value. You guys ready? Let's get started.
The man knows what he's weak at. So he's always going to excel at what he's strong at because we don't get the luxury of being emotional. We just don't.
You don't get the luxury?
No, we do not get the luxury of being. Men are way more emotional. I'll say this first. Men are way more emotional than women, but we don't get the luxury of being emotional because we look weak if we do.
Oh, okay. So, no, just to kind of elaborate off of what you were saying. So, the man in relationships, mostly, because I've dealt with this, I've been married multiple times. I'm not, ashamed of it. It's just, I was married to, I guess, one of my friends had said somebody else's wife at the time.
That's powerful right there.
And I
that
never
was
forgot
a concept.
I never forgot
That might have went over some people's heads.
Shout out to Ronnie.
Married to somebody else's.
And so it made me really think. So just to elaborate what my brother here was saying, I feel like men in relationships, I felt this way, like sometimes our roles, like you were saying, they're not, the woman takes the role of the man in the relationship. Instead of letting the man be the man, it's like the man is displaced in the relationship. And my old pastor, Abundant Living, Pastor Diego, I never forget this, has said, when a man feels out of place, he ends up being displaced, and then the woman replaces him. And so it messes up the whole family dynamic, and that stuck with me because I was going through something right at that same time he had preached that sermon. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, when a man is in a relationship, he needs to know his role. The woman needs to allow him to do what he is, what he's supposed to do, which is, protect the family, take care of the family, making sure that he's covering his family. The woman needs to allow it, and if the woman trusts that God has brought this man into her life, she has to allow the man to be her cover and God to be their cover.
Yes. Okay, so real quick, because you brought out a good point, but I feel like the term role affects people negatively. So I'll use an analogy for you.
Okay.
Think of a relationship in terms of a human body. The man's specific role as ordained by God, this is my own personal beliefs, however you take it, that's fine. He is the head, therefore making him the brain. The woman will be the lifeblood of the body, being the heart. So the heart cannot exist without the brain, but yet the brain cannot function without the heart. But there is no body on the face of this earth that has two hearts and no brain, or two brains and no heart. So if you desire to be in a place that you're not ordained to be, and you're so busy trying to be the head when God has called you to be the heart, or you're so busy trying to be the heart when God has called you to be the head, the body can't function properly.
I just find it very interesting that when it comes to women talking about men, there's always constructive criticism that can be given comfortably, but as soon as a man says something to a woman that's constructive, it's automatically out of place. And there's this
Is that your experience?
In general and overall, as far as my experience goes, is as far as when it comes to actually being with somebody and saying this is a constructive manner to where we can coexist, because I feel like there's really no head in a great relationship. There is no head. There's a two-headed snake. One just gets a better day than the other on the other day, because that's what your role is. When I like what he said about role, but it's the constructive criticism on, hey, there's certain things that can be done. Now, when it comes to a man saying that you just need to submit or anything, I'm not speaking towards that at all. So when I say playing roles, meaning that you have to figure out roles you're going to play in a relationship because that's who you are. That goes back to self-reflection. If you know this woman that don't cook, never cooked a day in her life. So me choosing that woman, I have to know my role is the man to cook. Now I'm going to be cooking. Or if she's the breadwinner of the house, I know I'm going to be at home with the kids. So I need to transition. I feel like relationships are freeways. You need to know what lane to be in at perfect time so you can move through traffic efficiently, or you're always going to be stuck behind, or you're always going to be in accidents. So if you want to be in the carpool lane, guess what happens? You got to be with one or two more people. But women want to be in the carpool lane, I personally feel, by themselves and the man in the back seat. meaning that you can tell me what it is to be a man and I ride with you and you take the direction, but when you get to that destination and you're not happy, it's my fault.
Wow. Whoa.
What an analogy.
like it's my fault. I was sitting in the back seat. I took a step back and followed what you said you wanted.
Why do men take a back seat?
Because I feel like there's such a term of there's a lack of good men, and women tend to impose an opinion instead of allowing things to create naturally, to the point to where if you really want to get to know a woman nowadays that's good, that's been hurt, that you have to take the back seat a little bit in order to where you can actually hop in the passenger seat with her. Because sometimes they don't trust you because of the other people they've been with.
But then are you in the right role or the right lane when you take the back seat?
If that's the role I choose to play in order to make the relationship work, again, it's a choice. And I have to acknowledge that I made that choice to be in the back seat because I felt strong enough for her to lead, is what I'm saying. It's also another deeper meaning that if I choose to go in the back seat, I feel like I can trust you to take me to the destination. But if me being the man, we're logical. Like I say that we don't work off emotion, so we don't have luxury to be emotional to a certain degree. So logic would tell me that if every time you drove us somewhere, you ended up being at the wrong destination, then I had to step in and give a constructive criticism to get us back on track. But you never chose to hear it. I stay in the backseat forever. I never get the opportunity to drive because you don't respect me as a person enough to be like, I got it. I'm gonna take us there. And there's gonna be times where I'm gonna have to listen to my woman or whoever my wife is, and she's gonna be like, hop in that passenger seat, player. I got this. But again, that goes back into knowing roles, knowing self, knowing what you want. Because I think a lot of that also has to go in, do you really know what you want, and do you know what you want produces?
Take a commercial break real quick.
And for
The
you
ladies
watchers
out there.
Okay,
I just have
I'm
the
using
questions
props
to
and
tip.
picking up.
I'm
I'm
over
saying
here
yes,
like-
men are smart like what?